on Star Trek. They said, well, what do you want to do? What subject matter? Why don't you tell us the story you want to tell? So I think about it a little bit, and I say, look, you know, the story I want to tell is, I got a great idea. Star Trek goes in search of God. Something simple. So they said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, we go, for some reason, we got to go see God, and we find the devil, because that's exciting, and we descend into hell, and maybe the three of us, one of us is not liking the other, and we leave them, but we have to go back into hell, like the river Styx, and do sort of that whole thing, like go back to hell, and bring our third brother out, and run and escape the Furies, and get back in the ship and go. And by finding the devil, we, in essence, establish that there's God. Wow! What a story! I thought. They said, well, who would you like to have write it? So I can't think of the guy's name. Forgive me for not remembering that. It's not important. There was an author who wrote several books about a Western guy, a European guy in Japan, and his learning the Japanese society. But he was out of society, but he loved the environment, so he was involved. So he had a foot in both cultures, and that sort of was Star Trek and Spock. And I thought that'd be great. So I'll try and get that author. It's Vandenberg or something like that. Anyway, they said, well, go to New York, and I call him up. He's not a fan. I'd like to, come on. So I go to New York, and I walk the streets of New York with him, discussing Star Trek Goes in Search of God. And why not have Spock's brother as sort of an evangelist preacher on Matt? and so he is trying to bring, I've forgotten how it went, but anyway, the preacher and the extremes of religion, and then the Enterprise goes and meets the big heaven-like clouds, and we find the devil. And Gene Roddenberry reads my outline and says, it's never going to work. I try to do a God story, and the big problem with the God story is it alienates everybody. Because whose God do you find? Oh, geez, that's right. Whose God do you find? Okay? So, I understand the logic of the argument, but I'm trying to say what is really a dramatic story. The Star Trek cast goes to find God. It's still good to lose. So somebody says, well, what happens if it's an alien who thinks he's the devil? Otherwise, we can't do it. Roddenberry won't let you do it. And this is where the lesson of Star Trek V takes place. I said, okay, I compromise my basic idea in an effort to make it work. Okay? And from that moment on, it being an alien and not being God, or not being the devil, the story lost all its power. And what happened, probably intuitively, subconsciously, I began then to make compromises all the way down the line, to the point of such idiocy. And this is what took place. They said, well, how are you going to end it? And I said, well, you know, I had found a location, somebody had found a great location, spires of rocks climbing to the sky, out near Los Angeles, as a matter of fact. And then there was that place is called something or other, and that would be the location, and they're giant spires of rock. And I even went there on the location scout, and I could see the sun coming up at 9 o'clock in the morning on the scout. I saw the sun backlighting on the spires. And I thought, God, that's really great. That'll be inspirational. And I figured this is October, and by December it'll be. And when I figured out where the sun would be in December, so I could mark the spot, this is what the camera will be in 2 months' time. That's kind of detail. That's how wonderful I thought I was going to be. How are you going to end it? Well, out of these spires of rock will emerge smoke coming out of their back and mouth, and they'll fly and they'll assail Kirk and Spock, and they're running with McCoy on the... Oh, wow, what an ending. How many rockmen even? I need 10. I need 10 rockmen. We'll put 10 here, then we'll shoot it again with the same 10 over there, and they'll look like 30, 40, 50, 100 rockmen will fall into your hand. You got 10? You got it. That's it. Okay, no compromise. 10 rockmen, fire, smoke, coming out. Great. Okay, we got our ending. Wow, because you need a good ending. If you have a good beginning, a good ending, you don't need much in the second ending. Okay, so now we start shooting. And we're shooting, and I keep saying, where are the rockmen? The rockmen are coming. Rockmen are coming. How much is it going to cost? We don't know yet. It's going to come, we're coming. It's going to come, we're coming. Okay, about 3 or 4 weeks into the shooting, we got the price of the rockman. $350,000 a rockman. 10 rockmen, $3,500,000. $3,500,000. That's, I was spending $30 million. Who's ever had $30 million to spend? I had $30 million. But even I knew that $3,500,000 of rockman is more than the whole, I mean, that's not a budget. You get your spending. Well, it's like the United States government. I'm overspending. I'm spending more than I'm getting. Not a good philosophy. So I said, all right, 5 rockmen. I can do 5 rockmen. I can do 5. So the 10 here, I'll do 5. But I'll do 5 here and 5 here. I'll do my 10. And then I'll take the 10 and the 10. I'll put the 10 there. And I can do it. 5 rockmen. They said, great. 5 rockmen are 5 times 3,000. 150 is 50. It's $1.5 million, right? Somewhere around there. $1.5 million. Give or take a couple $100,000. Who cares? It's Paramount's money. It's not my money. $1.5 million. So we're filming a lot, we're spending too much money, and the producer comes up to me, and he says, 5 rockmen, that's too many rockmen. Can you do with 1 rockman? One rockman. Film rockman. And then you look like 10 of them, 10 of them. And CGI, the computer graphics, was hardly in existence then, so it wasn't like you could do it as easily as you can now. And 1 rockman, I thought, halfway through the shooting, and I don't have a rockman. I'll do it with 1 rockman. Fire coming out of the smoke coming out of the rocks on the back, and it's got to be, no question, $3,500, $350,000 for a costume. That's a lot of money for a costume, but flame exploding out of the mouth. Okay, shoot it close like this. Open your mouth. Ow! Flame coming out of it. It'll look good. Still haven't seen the rockman suit. We're on the last day of shooting, and tomorrow night, I gotta shoot the rockman. I haven't seen the suit, but I'm told the suit and the stuntman who's gonna be in the suit is coming up from Los Angeles. We're about 40 miles outside of Los Angeles. And that night, that evening, we had stopped shooting during the day, the sun had set. And the stuntman, George, was now dressed in the rock suit. They're going to show me the rock suit. They're hidden behind. I'm sort of like outside the motel, okay? And I'm standing there saying, well, where's the rock man coming out? All right, he's here now. Here he comes. Here comes the rock man. And I see a stunt man, sort of in a diving, like a diving suit, 3mm wetsuit with a couple of things on his back. Comes out on all 4s. Crawling in. I said, what's that? They said, that's the rockman. Where's the flame? He said, well, we tried it. It burned this guy's face. So we'll put that in with CGI. I said, where's the smoke? I could just see little wisps coming out of here, little wisps. I said, well, that's the smoke. And I'm looking. Now, this is $350,000. $350,000. And I see the guys like crawling around like some child at a birthday party. And I see 2 little tubes behind the guy, and I follow the tubes. I follow the tubes over to here. And behind behind a rock are two special effects guys with cigarettes in their mouth. 350,000, and there's two guys who are getting cancer of the lung. But I have to shoot. So I tried shooting it at night. Oh, so we go out at night. Desert. Okay, it's the desert. Now, Australia has lots of desert, right? Yep. I'm going to point to somebody that you think wouldn't know anything, and I'll bet you they know what I'm about to ask. You. I'm going to ask you a question. All right? You. Okay? As the dark settles on the desert, and the coolness of the desert, the cool air of the desert comes because the sun is setting. The ground is warm, and it's cooling. What happens in the desert when that effect of cooling and heating takes place? A breeze, right? The desert breeze. Warm air rises, cool air comes in. There's a breeze in the desert. I bet you knew that. I bet you knew that. The people who made the rock suit didn't know that. So the little bit of smoke coming out of the guy's lungs in the evening breeze in the desert was blown away. You couldn't see it. $350,000, and when we shot it and looked at it, we knew we couldn't use it. And so I had to compromise the ending and try and find something that looked like the ending that was for nothing like what I had imagined. Are you still hearing me? Can you hear me back there? Yeah? No. Probably the story isn't worth hearing anyway. What do you got? You got a little dial there that goes. Oh my God. Okay. Well, how are we doing here? What a way to tell a story. I had a really third act climax. You know, I used to be able to do that. What? Hello? That's right. So the rock band suit didn't work out. I had to try and find an ending. I had to compromise the ending, and I realized that all the way through the movie, I was compromising my thoughts. So the question then occurred to me after the movie was over was, where's their compromise? And when do you stick to your ideals? It applies to everything we do. Everything. Where do you stand on principle, and where do you say, well, I'll make an intermediate stop here? Very difficult to know when to compromise and when to stand on your ideals. And that was at least the question that I learned on Star Trek V. Had I insisted on the original one-line idea, I don't think I could have gotten that made, because Gene Roddenberry was the final arbiter of the stories we told. So I lost. I had a dream of a story, and it certainly had a magic about it, and I would love to have toyed with the idea that Spock and whatever the character's name was, Lawrence Olivier played, would have been brothers, and Spock would have been torn by familial ties, and then God and the devil and Spock, and that results in a rupture of Spock and Kirk, and then we lose McCoy in hell, and we got to go down to hell. It had a great resonance for me, but I compromised, and in fact I lost it. that's starting to quit.